You are listening to the Manhattan Tri Club Leading from the Front podcast. We are based in Manhattan, Illinois, a southwest suburb of Chicago. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the handle Manhattan Tri Club. We hope you like the show. Hey everybody, we're back. Manhattan Tri Club. Back at it again, finally on a normal, regular cadence. Hopefully we can stick with this cadence here for the immediate future. Every couple weeks, get one of these podcasts done. It's a lot of fun. And we got the crew, April.
Heyo.
Bridget.
Hi, guys.
Chad and Grace. What's up, Grace?
Everyone. G-Dog.
Yeah. So had some pretty cool stuff over the past couple weeks that we get to talk about. We all had a lot of fun at a couple different events. And then we're going to talk about the spring being here and spring's upon us and how we all handle spring cycling and getting ready for the outdoor world versus the indoor trainers. Even though Bridget and April and Grace, to some extent, loves the indoor trainers now that they got new ones.
Yeah.
Yes. So much better than spin class, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So April, what do we got? What did we do the past couple weeks that everybody's really excited about? You guys see what I'm wearing, right?
Yes, I do. We did the Manhattan 5K. And then because we like to overcommit and just say yes to fun things and not check the calendar, we did the 5K on a Saturday. Sunday was an indoor try. And then the following weekend, we did another indoor try. So it was a really busy 2 weeks. But I'm so excited that we have so many races on the schedule this year because they've already been so much fun. I think I had a little too much fun at that 5K, but it was awesome.
Well, that's because it's Irish and there was lots of beer. And you finish running and you start drinking Irish beer at 11:30 in the morning and bad things tend to happen.
The bagpipe
the whole
comes
double up on the couple of races is all Grace's fault, though, because Grace signed up for the wrong race that we talked about on the last podcast.
I did.
Yeah. And then Chad placed really well at the 5K. He got first place in his age group.
Yeah. First place in my age group. It was a good race, tough race, but the weather was kind of perfect. It was cool, but then it started raining towards the end. But
yeah,
I felt good. My run's been struggling a lot, so I felt like I'd kind of broken through a little bit. My run is starting to get better and better now.
Yeah, you did great. And the weather started off perfectly, and then it rained and dropped 10 degrees in the middle of the run, and then we were all freezing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was windy.
But then we got into a nice naturally warm tent with body odor, sweat, and beer.
It was, and good music. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly how you imagine an Irish fest.
It was fun. Totally, I would do it again, for sure.
Yeah.
And sadly, I wasn't able to do the sprint try in New Lenox the next day because something came up, but you guys did great. You said you had took it easy on the swim, but I think, what did you swim, 850 yards, April?
I did 875.
I didn't mean to short you the 25.
I know, right? And it was a 15-minute swim on this one because the next weekend we only did a 10-minute swim. Yeah. What did you do in the first one for the swim, Grace?
I have no idea. That the day after the 5K was I took the run, the bike, the swim easy.
Yeah, we were like more cashed than we expected to be on Sunday after that 5K. Maybe it was the Irish beer. Yeah, or maybe it was because we really raced it. I don't know. But I was like so cashed afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
It was,
and that one was...
Mary came out and raced with us, Mary Moore, and she did great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that one was super lax because it was like, if you pushed off the wall, they let you count the 25. Like you didn't have to touch the other side. And for, what was it for the run? They were like, if you make it halfway around, it counts as a lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very loosely judged.
Yeah, they were definitely pretty structured the following week or last weekend in Lamont at the core, which I thought they did a great job. That was put on by the Park District in Lamont indoor facility, the core, which is where I started doing most of my swims. And I think it was put on with the Lamont Tri Club. I think they were partners with them. And we met a bunch of the Lamont Tri Club folks. A couple of them were in our wave, so that was fun to meet new people. They got definitely better tri kits than we have currently, but we're working on that.
For now.
But they definitely put on a good production. They were organized. They had lap counters. They had all the volunteers. Looked like they were all like high school swimmers that were there to help count the laps for everybody. But it was good. We definitely pushed hard that day, though.
Yeah. And Grace, I don't know, remind me for the 5K, did you PR on the 5K?
I did not. I did the best I have done since I hit my 40s.
Nice.
But it's not like an all-time PR.
But that should be a big accomplishment, right? Because I feel like every decade you get to have a new PR.
Yes, I was happy with my time, for sure.
Good. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then what do we have coming up next?
Yeah.
Oh, we have state. We have swim state coming up next. That's the next one.
Yes. That's April 11th?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting to see if I
10,
got
11,
into
12.
1,000, but I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Yeah, Grace signed up for the wait list to see if she can get into the 1,000-meter or 1,000-yard.
Did you all
swim.
see the 50-year-old, I can't remember her name, on Master Swim, who broke the record? She holds the record in the 1650 for the 30 to 35, 40 to 50, and now 50 to 55. She swam the 1650 in 16 minutes.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, holy Christ, that's fast.
Yeah.
Holy
For
cow.
I think for 50 years old. And 50 it was like 1623 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, holy cow.
Amazing.
That's a 1 minute
And then
100. What?
But then I looked at the record for the 80-year-olds, and the 80-year-old record was 23 minutes, and I was like, Jesus.
Wait, I don't think I'm doing math correctly, but I think it's too fast for me to be able to do that math.
That's yeah.
and Mike Murphy sent us in the swim group chat. He was at some event, and there was a 92-year-old man that I guess he was from Iowa. Did you guys see this? He was from Iowa.
No.
And he competed in the state event. And what did he listed all his times. He set the new state record for the age group 90 to 94. He did the 100-meter in an hour or a minute 36.
Minute 36.
He did the 50 in 45 seconds.
Wow.
And he did.
Okay.
He set the record for the 200, and I don't know. Maybe Grace can pull it up while we're talking. It was crazy though, and just really cool to see somebody that age still at it. And all
That's
the comments
amazing.
were kind of funny. Like Rich Ward, he goes, "I don't know if I even still want to be alive when I'm that old."
50-year-old, 100 free in 139, 200
What?
free, 200 free in 3/4, 50 back in just under 46, and 100 back in 139.35.
Wow.
He did his 100 back faster than I do the 100 free.
Yeah.
Same.
Right.
Same.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
Goals. Hashtag goals.
Goals for today, like not when I'm 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, it just goes to
My
show you
90
that.
goals is water aerobics.
Yes. Yes. To participate or instruct.
Noodle. I'll
Oh.
instruct. I can
Oh,
do that.
no, I'm all participation. Give me the noodle and I'll dance myself around.
The floaty.
Grace
Yeah.
and I can enjoy
Well, you
aqua
can hit
exercise.
people with a noodle when you're not doing it right. You're like, faster.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Well, we've also this week established that Bridget and Grace cannot be unsupervised. Otherwise, they don't complete their workouts properly.
What are you talking about?
Only swimming.
I swam 3,000 yards. Grace cut
Yeah.
it short at 1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we need to make sure Bridget gets there. Nobody's allowed to say like it's too cold. She's really taking advantage of this race year being off and
Yeah, don't
Fixing
tell
all the
me like,
injuries.
oh my gosh, this workout with Chuck is going to be hard. I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I can't come tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. We just got to make sure Bridget shows up. Grace, we got to like keep her moving the whole time. And then we're good.
Fun stuff. So what else is new?
Are we ready to talk bikes?
I think so.
All right.
We like bikes. I like bikes.
I like bikes. And this episode, have we already said that this episode is about our getting out there spring bikes, our triathlon cycling? Did we already say that? I think I might have fallen asleep during that.
We said the spring is upon us for cycling, and really, I think the way we structured this one in our notes is that this is like triathlon cycling 101. So we're certainly not trying to over-explain anything to anybody, just kind of pointers that we or I follow when it comes to cycling outside, training, just kind of a refresher, because there's lots of people that are way better at it than me that may or may not listen to the podcast, but there's probably some that don't really know what they're doing and want to get into it. And so we're just trying to talk from experience. And I tend to gravitate towards the bike, both on the actual cycling side, but on the mechanical side, I've, over the past few years, tried to really learn how to work on bikes and fix them and change parts and do different things. And it's all been trial and error. And I've had good friends in my cycle group that have kind of worked with me and taught me over the past couple of years, that I've asked them to fix my bike, and then now I try to do it all myself. So
and fix
that's what we're here to talk about.
Everyone else's bike too. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks, Chad.
I tuned up April's, and I tuned up Grace's new bike. We put new tires on that. I did new cables for new aero bars for April's bike. Grace found herself a nice green tire, so her bike still looks like the Italian flag. So
I love it. It's very sexy.
This weekend, 70 degrees. Hopefully we get all these bikes outside and try them all out.
See how it goes.
If shit breaks, though, it ain't my fault.
Yeah, I haven't ridden it outside since you tuned it up, so I guess we'll see. Only indoors.
Yeah.
I have a funny story. So I still feel like I'm new to triathlon, and this is only my second year. And so it's been super helpful, number one, to do all these smaller races in the indoor tri, because I've realized I need to work on my bike more. But I made a rookie mistake on last weekend when I rode for 2 hours, 45 minutes or whatever. I guess my hand position was so bad, and I didn't realize what I was doing in the moment, because nothing hurt. Sometimes when I'm on the bike, my hands get a little tingly, a little numb, you reposition, whatever. I got off the bike and I couldn't even tie my shoes. I had no strength in my left hand, because I must have been just flat palm straight, just leaning over my shoulders, because it was an endurance ride. I had one pace the whole time, but I still don't have full strength in my hand, and it feels terrible. And it was funny because I was complaining about it at swim on Monday, and Chuck said, he goes, because I was asking for advice. I'm like, what the heck did I do with my hand? And so Joe was like, well, it was probably your posture. But Chuck speaks up and he goes, I don't know, ask Chad. He probably knows. Take a picture of your posture. You got to send it to him, because he knows everything about bikes.
That's funny.
So you need to diagnose my hand and help me, because
I love Chuck.
I'm pretty sure I injured myself.
This isn't scripted. This is a real live diagnosis at the time of the podcast. So tell me more. Where you were in aero, or you were up on the bullhorns?
I was on the bike for 2 hours and 45 minutes, so I was everywhere.
So you were moving around different hand positions.
Yeah. But you know what I think got me? Because I did actually flip extra towel over on my handlebars, and flat handed, just sat up on them. And I think that's what did it. That bad carpal tunnel position that they tell you not to do.
Yeah. So there's a nerve that runs through the middle of your hand into your wrist, and it goes all the way up to your brain, and
to my brain,
to your brain. And it only really happens to me on a road bike, because you can kind of get on the hoods and put your hands on the hoods, or you go into your hands in this position or this position, right? And so that when you're putting the pressure right here, it makes that nerve go numb. And it's happened to me. When you go on a fast group ride and you're trying to hang on to somebody that's like Joe Bippus, and you're trying to stay with them, you don't have time to move your hands.
Yeah.
You got to stay in that focused position. And so when I do go on those rides, my hands will go numb until we get through a stretch and everybody kind of eases up, or you have to go through a crossing and then you got to shake them out. We'll have to talk more about it, but I think it might have been hand position. We'll have to look at the position of your bullhorns. Maybe we can adjust those too, but we'll have to look. So you were on the trainer when this all happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably got a lot to do with it also, because the trainer doesn't move like an outside bike. So you're not getting that. It doesn't keep the blood flowing in the shoulders like when you're outside and you got a bike handle.
Yeah. And it was so weird because, sometimes my hands will go numb. This, I felt nothing until I got off, and I was like, oh gosh, am I having a stroke right now because I can't use my left arm? What is happening? Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. And it still feels weird, but it's getting better. So now I'm super aware of like how my hands were when I was on the bike yesterday to make sure that I wasn't putting too much pressure on it that way. And it was funny because then the next day I was trying to swim and I couldn't like catch the water. I felt like I had like this monkey claw thing happening when I was like trying to catch the water. It was terrible.
Well, see, that would have been a perfect time to put the pull buoy in and paddles and just pull.
Right?
And work on your pulls.
Yeah, it was a speed workout. No luck there. But like, you know, you don't think about it when you're riding mindlessly for that long. You know, I put a TV show on, I was on my trainer in poor position, and now I'm paying for it for sure.
Yep. Well, wait till we get into these 3, 4, 5, and 6 hour long rides, and when you do your first 100 miler, which we talked about in text the other night.
It is one thing to like sign up for an Ironman and think like I have to get this done, but when you emailed me like here's when we should do our first 100 miler, to like see it in print, I was like, my brain couldn't even like compute a 3-digit number for a bike ride at that moment.
Yeah,
I don't know what I got myself into.
It's well, you got yourself into an Ironman. It can be daunting, and until you do that, that's like the magic number, and you'll see a lot of guys post on their Strava, I did my first century or my first century of the year, and it's a milestone to do the 100 miler because it is no joke. And when you get done with the 100-mile ride, whether you're soft pedaling or you're going hard, your butt is hurting and your shoulders are hurting and your back is hurting. But there's a lot of value in doing them, not just for the mileage. It's when you're training for a race, it's more the time in the saddle, getting yourself conditioned for being on the bike for 6 hours or 6.5 hours or 7 hours. It's not necessarily about how many miles you cover in training, because once you start the race, you're covering 112, or you're not, or you're going to DNF. But that's not an option. That's why we do the training. Even for a 70.3, it's a little different mindset, but there's a lot of different coaching philosophies, and the one that I've liked the best, that works best for me, is to pay less attention to the mileage and more attention to the time and the power that you're at, because you want to regulate your power. And we'll talk about, I guess that's a good segue, is for these training rides, you want to ride at just under race pace, and race pace is 65 to 75 for average riders % of FTP. So you can do the math on your FTP. I know what I try to ride at for the duration of a race. I try to keep that power the same. And on a hilly course, it tends to be a little bit more difficult. So that's why you got to train in hills. But for me, I think the 3 things that I really pay attention to are in order are power, cadence, and then heart rate. And if I can keep the power and the cadence where I have trained for them to be, then my heart rate will stay at that upper zone 2, zone 3. If you start crossing into zone 4 on the bike in an Ironman, you're toast. Your run is you're gonna blow up on the run. So you've got to be able to moderate, and that's why I've been preaching to you guys. We got to get you guys power meters. We got to monitor your cadence, work on your cadence work and on the trainer, because in the controlled environment, you can really pay attention to that. It's a lot harder to keep your cadence constant outside, and it's a lot harder to keep your power constant outside than it is on the trainer in erg mode. Right, Bridget? We know what erg mode is now.
I know what erg mode is. I've played with it now.
So in erg mode, it's easy. It's mindless, like you said. You put a show on, you start riding, you get an arrow, whatever, and you pedal. It's always going to keep you with that power. But the minute you go outside and you think, I'm going to ride at 150 watts or 200 watts, and you hit that first hill, and all of a sudden you look down and you're at 125, or you're at 300, depending on which way you're going up the hill. Those are the things that we got to condition ourselves for, especially for the full distance Ironman, because you can't fake an Ironman. It's such a long distance, and you're out there for 12 to 16 hours for people of our abilities. The elite guys are doing it in just insane times, but those are the 3, and I'll shut up here in a second, let you guys talk about your experience with these three metrics so far. But cadence, I think, just to recap, I think in training, we should focus on keeping our cadence between 80 and 95 RPM. Power, train at just under race pace, and know what your FTP is, and know what you can sustain for in an Ironman case, 6+ hours, in a half Ironman, 3+ hours. And then know what your heart rate is, because if your heart starts blowing up, no matter what your pace is on your power meter, you're not going to be able to pull it back down. And once your heart starts to elevate, then you really got to back down the power, and that's the other indicator. So, but if you train at a certain power and you know what that, and you can keep that power and your heart rate constant, if your heart rate starts to spike, there's some external factor that's impacting that: your hydration, your nutrition, the wind, the heat, humidity, something else. So you need to know how to scale back that power. And then the triathlon cycling 101 is bike handling. We all can be better at bike handling, know how to handle corners, know when to get out of arrow, when to stay in arrow, and learn. The real key is to learn how to brake and when to brake through a corner. Because if you brake all the way through the corner and then go up, you've lost all your power. Now you're burning a ton of matches to get back to power to keep going. So
yeah, or brake and not fall down.
Well, but the brake and the fall down when you come to a complete stop and a tip over, that happens to everybody, and that's acceptable.
That's learning the chutes, clipping in and out.
Yeah.
Grace, what's
and those are all. Grace, what's up?
I just you said race pace, keep it at 65 to 75% of your FTP. Are you talking for the full or the half Ironman or any race?
So there's a couple of schools of thought, but generally you're going to be able to go a little bit harder in a half Ironman. But if the half Ironman is your personal long distance, some people aren't cut out for fulls and they're not ever going to do fulls, don't want to do fulls, have no desire to ride 112 miles, no desire to run a marathon. But in a half distance Ironman, 70.3, you can, I don't want to say fake it, you can fake it a little bit more than you can. There's no fake in an Ironman, but you can fake a little bit on the 70.3. And what I mean by that is if you spend a little bit of extra energy cycling harder, you're only running a half marathon versus a full. So chances are you can muscle through it and you're not going to blow yourself up. So I don't know if that was as concise as I wanted the answer to be, but I think you can kind of, to directly answer your question, I think you're going to go a little bit harder in a 70.3. So you might want to kick that up to 75 to 85% on a 70.3. And that's highly individual. So some people they don't have the desire to go that's hard. Going 75 to 80% of FTP for 3 hours is hard. And the external factors like wind, like heat, like other riders. One thing that'll happen, this happened to me in the full Ironman in Chattanooga in 24. I was having a really strong bike. The swim was canceled, so I wasn't exhausted as time trial start. And we got up on the highway and no real major, one climb going up and pretty flat rolling hills the rest of the race. And it was 3 loops around. But the problem was it got really congested because it was a time trial start. So every 5 seconds, 3 bikes would take off. Mm-hmm. So you'd get this loop, and the pros were racing, and the Sam Long, he's one of the elite pros. He's in the top 15 or 20 of the elites. He won the race that day. Curry was there too. So Curry saw this. I told Curry the story. The pros were on their 3rd loop. I was on my 2nd loop. All of a sudden, I saw this like herd of people up in front. So we've only got one lane of the highway, and there's cars passing you on the right, and it's an expressway. They were probably going like 45 to 55 miles an hour, but they're still passing you, and it's kind of hairy. And then you have the inside lane, the shoulder, which had a rumble strip, and then a grass median to the left. And as I was passing people, and there was a group that I was coming up against, and the group started to like move towards the middle of the road, and I was trying to pass, and all of a sudden I hear the pros scream at you when they come flying by, and you hear on your left, and it's a pro, so you get out of his way. I had nowhere to go. I had two or three cyclists next to me, and they ran me onto the rumble strip. My bottle went flying, and all of a sudden Long comes flying on the grass. His bottles went flying. I thought he was going to go down. I almost went down. And I was like, you're like shocked. You're freaked out because you almost wipe out. You're doing like 20 miles an hour. And this pro just passed you like you were standing still, screaming at you. And I was like shaken up. So it took me a few minutes to gather myself, get my power up. But then that took an enormous amount of effort, that little event there. And so you got to be prepared for all that. And, certainly not specifically that, but you've got to watch out for other cyclists and you don't know what's going to happen. But last part of that story, I was listening to Sam Long's recap on YouTube of the race when he won. And he talked about getting ran off the road by some age grouper in the middle of his race, and he lost all of his nutrition. So that was me, but it was funny. So
I'll never forget you.
Yeah, so that's kind of my take on. And again, I'm not a coach, and I'm not trying to coach anybody, but I'm trying to coach you guys because I've got a little bit more experience at them than you guys. But the things to pay attention to, I think, on the bike, and those are some of the main training techniques: cadence, power, heart rate, and learn how to handle your bike. And the whole Sam Long story is, if you're a poor bike handler, you crash. And not that I'm a great bike handler, but if you hit the rumble strips and you got people on your right and somebody passing on your left, you're going to fall. You're going to crash. So learn how to handle your bike, learn how to brake, all the different things. And that's all the stuff that we're all going to work on together. And anybody that wants to learn with us, we're happy to have you out.
Yeah, and here's one thing that everyone tells you to do, and I think is a great segue to our second topic for strategy and race tactics. They tell you to, it sounds so dumb because it's just getting on and off your bike, just practicing clipping in and clipping out so you don't roll up to a group of, intermediate expert cyclists and just tip over and turtle yourself. But also, I thought this was interesting or kind of fun, not funny, but funny. At the Rockford race, there were so many people that at the aid stations that were just wiping out everywhere between trying to continue to ride and grab a water bottle or food or whatever it was, or the people, that are stopping. So it was to your story of a congested area because you're looping so many times each other. This was people don't know how to handle aid stations. So you have to be super aware at the aid stations to make sure that you know how to grab that water. If you're in motion, you don't fall off, you don't crash into somebody else. It was like clockwork. Every aid station, somebody was on the ground.
Yep. So that is something that we've all seen, we've all done, we've all fallen. Grace is trying out new clips now on her new bike.
So I will probably fall this weekend.
So she's going to fall.
Are they the same ones you put on my bike?
Oh, yeah. All right.
You will fall at least one time. Now I like them. They feel so much more secure because they're a bigger triangle on the bottom of my foot compared to the other one that I was using. I don't know the names of anything, but they feel so much more secure, so much so that I can't get my feet out quick enough, but I'm getting used to them. I like them much better, so hopefully you do too.
You'll be fine, Grace.
When no one's looking.
I know. I only did that once. I've only did in the front of my house the very first time I clipped in and went for a ride. I stopped.
Don't do it in front of Chad's house, man. Linda will tape that shit and it'll be on Facebook Live.
We'll broadcast that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
So, Grace, you asked about the pacing difference between full and half. I think that was kind of the next was the strategy and race tactics and the different strategies for the different races. Sprint, Olympic, half, full.
And just hit it. Just go all out.
Yeah, I mean, the sprint is
everything.
You can really equate it all to running. If you're a pure runner, and your 5K is your fastest race, they're pretty much sprinting the whole race, and then it kind of graduates down, and you slow it down a little bit, and the better they are, the less difference there is in those different races. But for triathletes, it's really the same. You're only in the water for 12% of the race. So I've spent a lot of time swimming to get better at swimming to the point where I can get through the swim without putting too much distance between the guys that are out of the water way sooner than me and myself when I get on the bike. And so the sprint is there's less chance of that happening. Where on Olympic, you kind of get the swim starts to get real there. You're at a mile swim. It's still 12% of the race, but it's a mile long swim. And if you're not careful, you'll blow yourself up for not necessarily for the bike, but by the time you get to the run. Olympic bike distance is usually about 25 miles, and then the run is a 10K. And I think the pacing strategy it's highly individual. It does tie into nutrition and hydration. For a sprint, you might have a bottle of water. You're not going to stop at aid stations generally. You're not going to. A lot of people carry like nutrition and like a water belts and stuff. Not for sprints. You don't see that often on a sprint, or even on 5Ks. You don't see people popping gels because it's an all out sprint race. Nutrition to me isn't as important on the Olympic distance. You're gonna need some electrolyte replacement, but generally you're in the 2 to 3 to 4 hour range for an Olympic distance. And if you maybe take a gel while you're on the bike getting ready for the run, some electrolytes, and stay on top of your nutrition there. When it really starts to have an impact is at the half distance and the full iron distance. Then you start looking at regulating how many carbs per hour, how many grams per hour you're taking, and that's a whole podcast in itself. And I listened to a podcast today where they talked all about nutrition and hydration and some kind of comical stuff too about bathroom breaks and whether you do it or you don't.
Yeah, and we're going to need to do like I didn't have this issue in the half, but we're going to have to do like a pre-Ironman. How do I handle the bathroom breaks? Because I'm afraid to get off that bike. I'm afraid to get off the bike in the half too, but I didn't have to now you got me going down a rabbit hole. I'm very passionate about bathroom breaks. So you've like piqued my interest.
Well,
I went to the bathroom in the half at the run transition.
I did too. Yeah, and I was like so excited. Weren't you so excited to go? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well,
I think it was so hot it sucked all the fluid out.
Yeah, that was a unique circumstance. I think my goal in a half is this is not nutrition and hydration. We've graduated on to peeing.
This is the opposite.
Well,
my goal in the half is to pee one time while you're on the bike or while I'm on the bike.
Literally on the bike, like peeing in the wind. That's what I hear everybody does for the full. Just pee in the wind.
Whether that means stopping at see, here's the school of thoughts vary. I personally will just go on the bike if I can. It's hard, but on the bike you kind of stand up, get things going, and let her rip. And that's just life. The problem is you get into the aid stations and you got to get off the bike, and then if you're cramping up, it's a really good relief to get off the bike. And
I'm afraid to get off the bike and cramp up and then not be able to get back on.
You will see in the full distance, it happened a little bit in Rockford for me, but that was probably heat. But my feet cramp up a lot. Sometimes I get some calf cramps while I'm on the bike, and I'll stop at the aid station and get off, go to the bathroom, spend an extra minute. That minute's not going to cost me that much. I fill my water bottles, take walk around a little bit, get the juices flowing, and then get back on the bike and go. In the full distance, it's the same. I try to pee twice while I'm riding. Not on the bike, but sometimes it happens on the bike, sometimes it doesn't. I think I'm just saying, I think it's easier for girls to pee on the bike than it is for guys.
You do? Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
But I have to practice it, and I'll let you know.
Oh,
you have to practice, and you gotta just make sure you got stuff to rinse down. So it was funny, the podcast that I was listening to, the one guy was talking about how he's able to go while he's running, and the other guy's like, I've never heard of anybody be able to pee while they're running. He's like, well, it's just how it works, and I usually try to go before I get through the aid station, so I grab a bottle of water, hose myself down, and then just keep going.
I've had enough kids that funny. I can pee like anywhere, anytime, doing anything, I'm sure.
Yeah, we know, April. We know.
I have to work on that.
I remember
practice this summer.
Remember my sister saying, my twin that has done a bunch of the full Ironmans, she said she stopped in the run for the porta potty And she's like, don't ever do that again. Just pee on yourself, because she tried to like squat a little bit to go to the bathroom and her legs like totally cramped up.
Locked up.
And
Yeah.
she literally like rolled out of the porta potty like onto the ground and basically almost had to like crawl for like 5 minutes because she couldn't get back up. Her legs had cramped up so bad. So she's like, and note to self, never stop. Just keep on going.
I think that how this all relates to nutrition, if you have to pee
Success.
in the middle of these races, it's a good day.
Yeah.
And it's when you don't that things are going badly. And you've got to really stay on top of your carb fueling,
Yes.
your electrolytes. I think it's Precision Hydration is now the sponsor for all the Ironmans. And at the Athlete Village at the tent, I didn't do it. I'm going to do it this year at Rockford, but they do a sweat test. They tell you exactly how much salt and sweat you're losing, so you know how to fuel your electrolytes. There's easy ways to do that without that test, is to step on the scale before you go for your ride. Weigh yourself with whatever you're going to drink on the ride too. So if you got 2 bottles, hold the 2 bottles, weigh yourself, go for your ride, come back and see what your weight is, and that's your sweat loss. That's how much you lose of fluids while you're doing that duration of ride. So you know how much. So if you've lost more than what you've put in, you're not taking in enough.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But the sweat test, I think, it's a more precise scientific method, and that they say that you only ever have to do that once, because your body's not going to ever change how you sweat. I'm not a heavy sweater. I sweat, but like I watched Grace at the indoor tri. Holy crap, Grace is a heavy sweater. And it was funny because your face turned red and you were on the bike like kitty corner in front of me. And I looked over and you took your shirt and flipped it up because to get your back cool, so I'm not like that. I sweat and I run hot, but I don't sweat. So once you know what your body does, and that's really the key to all of this, is understanding our bodies. And you want losing too many electrolytes, and you want to avoid GI distress in the race. And the GI distress is a whole nother animal. We've all had stories where you kind of lose it. And again, the guys that I was listening to the podcast, they said more people DNF because they've had GI issues, and they just are like, screw it, I'm out, I'm done. But my horror story on GI was my second Chicago Marathon. I think it was 21 or 22, a couple of years after COVID. I was trained really well. I felt great. Did my first like 13 miles at under an 8-minute pace. I was like a 7:45 pace, and I was on track. I wanted to hit like 3 hours and 20 minutes that was the Boston qualifier for my age. And that was my goal. I didn't make it. I lost my salt tablets. When I reached for them, they fell out of my pocket, and I didn't have any more electrolytes. And all they had was Gatorade on the course and water. And Gatorade that's what messed me up. So I started taking Gatorade for like mile 14 to 26. Every mile I was in the porta-john.
That's awful.
And I finished, and I still finished it in, I think it was 3 hours and 47 minutes. No, that was not 3 hours. It was 4 hours and 12 minutes was that race. My best was 3:47. It'll ruin your day. So that's why, April, the long rides are more important than anything. Long runs, we all kind of know how the long runs, how to fuel, how to hydrate. The long rides that are the unpredictable ones, if you haven't done it before. And from the nutrition, you want to take on as many carbs as you think you're going to need, and just monitor that to get your body used to what it's going to need, and train yourself to know when you're supposed to take your carbs, when you're supposed to take your electrolytes, how you mix it. There are certain things that I don't like solid foods, so I do all high carb mixes in my bottles. A lot of people like to have this solid food, but I tried a banana once in my pouch when I was riding, and I took the banana and I puked it right up. For some reason, the solid foods don't work for me. That's all part of training. You got to train yourself on the nutrition side too. And my argument is the nutrition for these long distance races is probably more important than any other part of the training.
Yeah. And I think for the long rides, absolutely, you have to be. I have to be fueling like every 30 minutes. And I'm sure that's different. Some people will go 45 minutes, maybe longer. I don't know. I wouldn't imagine going longer than 45 minutes is a good idea unless you're going like very, very slow. But I like solid food. I can't eat. There's no way I'm eating gels for 100 miles. I would be sick by the end of the ride.
Grace, what solid foods do you eat? Like plate of spaghetti, meatballs on the side. The next 30 is the garlic bread.
Yeah. No, I'll bring. I know people like the Uncrustables. Something similar. I forget what it's called, but same kind of thing. Bananas, sometimes candy. Anything with quick, easily accessible carbs, sugars, fuel. Yeah, because if you're racing for that long, the thought of only taking booze. By the time that half Ironman was done in Rockford, I was good and electrolyted out.
I can do I've talked about nerd clusters on the podcast before. I love nerd cluster. I can do that's a little solid, but that's like a candy that gives you the sugar boost. And when I say I don't like the solid stuff on the bike, I like it. I like liquid, so I mix I was using the Morton's high carb mix, and I would put like 300 grams of carbs in one of my water bottles, and so every 15 minutes or so, I'd take a quarter of the bottle, and you just keep that going, keep the constant carbs in. So for Rockford half iron, I had 2 bottles with the carb mix. I had 1 bottle with electrolytes and the hydration on my handlebars with electrolytes, and that with that heat and that humidity, that combination worked for me. And it's funny because a lot of people, you hear people say they don't like to run when it's humid. They like to run early in the morning when it's cool. You're not racing. You can't pick that when you're racing. So you got to train when the heat training is important. The cold training is important. Running in the rain, riding in the rain, all that shit's coming at you during race, and you need to be prepared for it. So if you don't do it in practice, I don't know why people think they can do it in a race. But back to nutrition, the things like the nerd clusters, I don't particularly care for the goos or the gels. Once I get to the run, then I can do the gels, but not on the bike. I don't really care for them. But and I'll let you guys try the mix that I use. It's basically a glucose. I bought a big giant bag where I mix it myself now, and it tastes just like the Morton's, and it's like half the price, quarter of the price of what the Morton's stuff is. And you just put it in your bottle, and you really I feel like satisfied from it, where I don't need to be grabbing a candy bar. Now I do keep a candy bar at the special needs, and if I need to have a refill for full iron distance, special needs is really important because you're going to be out of your own stuff by the time you can't carry that much with you on the bike. So I put a couple bottles in there, and I just throw my old bottles, get some throwaway bottles, replace the bottles. And sometimes I'll have like a Snickers bar, and I'll start woofing down the Snickers bar, get back on the bike, and then go. But you really got to, I think I started this by talking about the GI distress, and it's all of us have experienced it in one form or another. It'll ruin your day. And the best thing to do is train yourself so that you're not going to have that risk. You can never predict what's going to happen on race day, but you got to be as prepared as mentally and physically as possible.
And we've all pooped our pants, so no one should be embarrassed about asking a question. How do I not poop my pants?
Yeah.
Modium.
Okay. Are we ready for April's segment that she just made up in the spot? Because I want your guys' best, you ladies, best dumb tip for cycling. I've learned so many things now that I'm like cycling more often compared to last year that are probably like common sense to cyclists, but were not common sense to me. So what is your like best dumb advice? Do you want me to?
Can I go last?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first to give you an example?
I would say for me, I'm going to tell, because I'm not experienced at the bike at all. So when you're on your trainer, ask questions and ask questions and make sure that you know what erg mode is and all that, and why your gears are not changing and all that fun stuff. Because I felt so stupid, but now that I figured it out, I'm like, okay, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I'm learning it.
Phone a friend, literally. Grace, what you got?
Grace?
Other than we already said the clipping in and out, for sure. Practice clipping in and out so you don't fall at a stop sign or a stoplight with all your co-riders.
Yeah. Practice the dumb things that you think are easy.
Yes. Practice getting your water bottle out because it looks like it's really easy, but that's not really that easy.
No, it's not. And especially where it is.
Let me ask you this. So is it just basically like being in the arrow position obviously is uncomfortable. So like the more that you do it, the more comfortable you become, like the muscles in your neck and your back and your, like, because it's real, like very tempting for me to just to sit up. And I'm very beginner. So I know it's probably not good to sit up, but like to give your hands a break, to give your back a break, to give your neck a break. Do you bike with your helmet on sometimes to practice? Because it's a different feeling altogether.
That was a lot of questions, and I'll pick them off quickly. My opinion: don't ever wear a helmet on your trainer because you will get made fun of.
No, you were supposed to tell her to do it so
Listen.
we could get a picture.
No. First of all, there will never be any pictures. But second of all, I'm in my basement, so nobody's gonna see me.
Yeah.
So
I know where you live.
yeah, I ain't let you into my house. I'm locking the door.
You definitely don't need the helmet on the trainer. The arrow position is not comfortable at first, and it should get more comfortable. A couple of observations. Your bike is a road bike with arrow clip bars. So your bike is not designed for you to be an arrow. So it's probably not as comfortable as it could be. April's bike is designed to be an arrow. It's a tri bike. And now Grace has a tri bike. So I'll be interested to see Grace's take on getting arrow because she doesn't ride arrow on the trainer because it's a Peloton. Hasn't ridden arrow other than on clip bars before. And a lot of it is bike specific. So now we're going to go down a rabbit hole. My last tri bike is a Cervelo P series, pretty new, and it's a bona fide triathlon bike. I could never get comfortable on it. I was getting pinch points in areas that you don't want pinched. My shoulders were always struggling. But I could do it. But I was finding myself like you, wanting to always come up and take a break, sit up, that's horrible in a long race because you're losing watts or you're wasting watts because now you got to pedal harder. You're not as arrow. I got my new bike and it was like night and day. I got an arrow and I can get on the trainer now and I'll ride my 2-hour endurance ride and I'll ride an hour and 45 minutes of it in arrow. So, and it's comfortable. It's actually more comfortable than sitting up. It does get monotonous. You have to move up and down. You have to get the body moving.
Mind-blowing. Yeah, that's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. So it has to do with the arrow, not necessarily the Indian. And I think that you can customize a road bike only so far. If you really want to be serious and do long distance triathlon. And I think the road bike with the clip bars is fine. You'll even see some people in full Ironman. I've seen people on a mountain bike doing it. I would not recommend doing it on a mountain bike, but I wouldn't recommend doing it on a road bike. The 70.3, you can do that on a road bike easily because those are, once you're trained for that distance, that's a training ride, a 56-mile ride.
What you're saying is I basically need to tell my husband I need a new bike.
Yeah, the absolute solution to any bike problem you have is to get a new bike.
Is just buy a new one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Dad said it's okay.
All right.
This is a good, I think I wanted to bring something up earlier and I kind of lost my opportunity, but this might be a good opportunity again because Bridget's not familiar with biking and has a lot of questions. Before, when we were talking about FTP and racing at 65 to 75% of FTP, some people who are listening might not know what the hell that means, and I wasn't even considering that. So it's functional threshold power, but like I don't have a power meter on my pedals or a bike computer that has power. So Chad can track all those things, and a lot of people can, and it's great. What I did last year, which may not be the best thing, but for my first half Ironman, I followed my heart rate and made sure my heart rate, I kept it in zone 2. I was being very conservative, maybe some zone 3 on the bike, but I kept it so I knew I would have enough left in me to run the half marathon and because of the heat and everything else. So you can also kind of track your output by your heart rate. Like Chad said before, you don't ever want your heart rate to get ahead of you, to get out of control, and then your body temperature gets out of control, and then it's pretty much game over. So you got to make sure, if you can't follow power, make sure you're following heart rate or something to make sure you're exerting enough, but you're not overexerting, because you want to be able to finish the race.
Grace, that was way too smart for my dumb advice segment, but it was so good. that was really good.
That was awesome, because that is, I'm a big fan of power, and everybody here knows that now. But this is an expensive enough sport to begin with. Power pedals are a luxury. Power meters are, if you want to go out and have fun and train hard and do races, you don't need a power meter. If you got a watch or a chest strap for a heart rate monitor, and you can monitor your heart rate, that's just as good. It's just not as precise. But again, we're not winning any races here. We all want to optimize our own abilities. We want to finish respectably. So there's a lot of different tools at our disposal, but by no means is it excluding people who don't have power meters. And that was an absolute great point. So thank you for bringing that up.
And if you would like me to dumb it down for you, my advice, because I finally bought a pair of bike bibs, which are incredible. I'm obsessed with them, but it is better not wear underwear with them so that you have less chafing and it's more comfortable. Don't wear the 100%,
100% commando. I learned that the hard way.
Same.
Yeah, but if you do it wrong, you're going to be at the dermatologist having them pop something, and you don't want to be there.
Not fun.
Saddle sores are nothing to trifle with, and they will happen to everybody.
And they will happen. So less amount of clothing, the better on the bike.
Yeah.
There's also a Chicago naked bike ride.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
We should probably investigate that.
Yeah,
That's probably ideal bike.
Absolutely not.
Right,
you are kicked off this podcast.
Sorry.
Nope.
All right. On that note, I think we should wrap it up. Got some dumb advice. Grace gave us some amazing advice. Chad gave us some incredible advice. And Bridget and I were just here for the humor.
Yeah.
Well, let me just
don't wear your helmet on your trainer.
You really should.
Unless you're prone to falling
I'm
off.
totally going to do it just to piss you guys off.
Well, I got one little bit. I'm not going to call this dumb advice. I'm going to call it smart advice, but basic advice that people might not think of, because you get excited, you want to go out and ride and go do your thing, but don't leave the house without a pump, some way to pump your tire out.
Or to tighten your shoe clip up, because that goes loose sometimes.
At least make sure you're with somebody that has that stuff.
Yeah, because the only thing I leave...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Tire tubes, I can get any tubes for my tires? In case I get a flat?
Yeah, I would.
I think you sent me some.
Because you have tubeless, Grace, or do you have tube tires?
I don't have tubeless. I used to have tubeless. Now I have tubes. I think we need to do a tire changing clinic, maybe, Chad.
We can do a tire changing clinic for sure.
That's a great idea.
And it is a good idea, and there's little tricks and nuances that if you have to learn how to do it out on the road in a race, you're going to be in trouble. So we definitely need to do that. As far as tubes, your tires are 700C, and they come in ranges like 20, 35 cc. So they're kind of universal. They work for different varying tire widths. But TPU tubes are lighter. Then there's the butyl tubes, which are the standard, rubber inner tubes. And I think I sent you a couple of different ones to look at.
Yeah.
I recommend sticking with brand names. Don't buy Chinese stuff. Stick with like Continental or one of the brand name Specialized. They all cost about the same, but you're only keeping these for in the event of an emergency, right? You're not the ones that are in your bike. I put TPUs in your bike, so they're lighter, better rolling resistance. So hopefully you're going to really be flying on your new bike.
That's exciting. That's good advice.
That was that was one of my. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, because I only leave the house with my delusional optimism. So maybe I should pack a pump too.
Yeah.
I never have a pump.
I used
CO2 cartridges, but I didn't know how to use them.
CO2 cartridges are a good way to go. And I can show you guys how to use those. We can do that in our tire changing clinic.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a YouTube tutorial. We should do that. All three of us will ask all the questions that everybody has, and Chad will show us how to do it.
All right. Hopefully I don't screw it up. But yeah, I made a few little quick notes. I know we're going to try and wrap here quick, but just like the best budget improvements that people can put on their bikes to help increase wattage, optimize their bikes without replacing their bikes, just little upgrades. Put good tires on your bikes. If you're racing Ironman, half Ironman, put on race tires. You want good rolling tires, whether they're tubeless or not. I recommend tubeless, but some rims aren't set up for tubeless. You can't do it, but go with good tires. Go with brand names. GP 5000s are good. Pirelli race tires are good. I recommend my personal choice is a little bit wider. The old school is 25 millimeter wide tires. I think on these tri bikes and the roads that we ride on, might be better to go to a 28 or a 30 millimeter tire, a little bit wider, a little bit more forgiving. New chains. Chains it's a cheap improvement. Both of your guys' chains need to be replaced, so I'm going to do that, and we'll show you how to do that, because sometimes you need to break your chain on a ride, or it breaks and you got to fix it.
And clean it often. Clean your chain.
And clean your chain often.
I didn't know my chain wasn't black after I got it back from Chad. Whoops.
And your brake pads, replacing brake pads. Both of you guys have rim brakes, so it's not those pads last longer. And I checked your pads and they were in good shape. But if you have hydraulic disc brakes, you really want to change those so that they don't wear out too quickly. Good pedals. We've all talked about pedals. I think power pedals are the way to go, but make sure that you got a good set of brand name pedals. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you go to Amazon, you could buy a cheap set of pedals, and you're entering at your own risk. So stick with good pedals and stick with the brand names. Shimano, Look. I use the Look Kios, and that's what you guys both have on your bikes now. If you go with power pedals, the Asiomo Unos are the best bang for the buck. Saddle upgrades, that's a rabbit hole. So if you're having trouble, if you are good with your saddle right now, don't change it. But if you can't get comfortable, might be something to look at. And bike shops do sit bone tests. They tell you where your sit bones are and how wide of a saddle to look at.
It's very tempting to change my saddle with my dad's bike saddle, because it's got like the shocks on it, like a pillow mattress,
Yeah. New fresh bar tape. That's going to be an upgrade for both of your bikes once we get rolling here in the spring. And I'm just waiting for Bridget's going to have a brand new bike, so she won't need any of these upgrades.
Yeah, and these upgrades are a great idea, but if you want a new bike, treat yourself.
Yeah, the new bike yourself. Yeah.
You deserve it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
And tubeless is the other one, if that's an option. Tubeless is a way more reliable way to race. I started out with tubes, and I now I have bikes that all are tubeless, and the maintenance is minimal. I've had punctures where the sealant goes spraying and you see it spray and it plugs the hole and you just keep going. You're not down. Whereas if you were on a tube and yet you get a hole in your tube, you're flat, and now you got to change the tube. So you don't want that to happen in a race. If you have a blowout in a race with a tubeless, you have a tube as a backup where you can throw it in. So you're not going to be stranded. But those are like 7 little quick, easy upgrades for under, let's say, $200 each. Saddles you can spend. There's some saddles out there that are like $500-$600. We're not pros. We don't need those.
But still cheaper than a new bike. So if you want your butt to be comfy,
it is. But we all
treat your butt too.
Yeah. Yes. We definitely need new bikes.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So yeah, that was Triathlon Cycling 101. Hopefully that was helpful to a lot of people. We're an open group. We're going to try and schedule a group ride. I think this is going to be up on the various platforms on Friday. If you're listening to this, we're going to have a group ride maybe scheduled for Saturday. So keep your eye on Facebook for an event.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. See you next time.